Hi guys, welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron. Welcome back today to another video, another manager update today, and we actually have had an update over the last 24 hours. According to various sources across the country and the world, it looks like Nuno Espírito Santo could be set to be the new Everton manager. It all broke late last night when the likes of Fabrizio Romano, Jay Percy, The Guardian, Dominic King all were said to have or all put out information regarding Nuno Espírito Santo being the choice for Everton, and specifically Farhad Moshiri, and how he is could be set to be the new Everton manager. We'll get into some of the rumours straight away. The first one come from Fabrizio Romano. We all know is quite the reliable source when it comes to transfers and managers and you know, movements in this sort of area, and he said that Nuno Espírito Santo is one step away from joining Everton. The agreement will be completed soon, and he is expected to be announced as the new Everton manager in the next few days. Now, pretty much at the same time that Fabrizio Romano has said that, Dominic King come out and said Nuno Espírito Santo is close to being appointed the new Everton manager. Farhad Moshiri has decided, and Nuno is now Moshiri's number one choice. Nuno's camp are expecting a contract offer within the next 48 hours. Now, I've got some issues with the way in which that is written, and we will get into talking about those in a second. But The Guardian then come out straight after and said Everton will hold further talks with Nuno Espírito Santo this weekend that could conclude with him being appointed as manager. They said Farhad Moshiri and Marcel Brands have assessed several candidates and are believed to be close to an agreement with Nuno Espírito Santo. Nuno's availability made him an attractive option for Everton. David Moyes was another option that interested the Everton board, but he has agreed a new contract with West Ham. Nuno returned to the top of Moshiri's list after talks broke down with Crystal Palace. Again, I've got some issues with the way in which those, you know, those sort of statements are written, if you like, but we'll get into those in a moment. Jay Percy from the Telegraph come out and said Nuno Espírito Santo and Everton, Nuno Espírito Santo to Everton is almost a done deal. Terms agreed in principle earlier this evening. Jay Burt believes it is also almost a done deal. The Mirror has stated that Farhad Moshiri returned to talk with Nuno Espírito Santo after confirmation that his number one choice, David Moyes, wished to remain loyal to West Ham after he felt he couldn't walk out on his players. Moshiri apparently originally spoke with Nuno and his agent Jorge Mendes last Monday, but he has also spent the week in talks with Rafa Benitez and Roberto Martinez. And the Mirror also said that Nuno's demands in talks with Everton included him bringing 6 of his own staff with him to the club, and for super agent Jorge Mendes to be involved in transfer deals. So again, a lot of updates there, a lot of information that I've thrown at you, but it all concludes in the same sort of conclusion, which looks like Nuno Espírito Santo is said to be the number one choice for the new Everton manager's role. It seems like Farhad Moshiri has chosen Nuno Espírito Santo. Some rumours there stating that Marcel Brands had sat down as well and also agreed on Nuno to become the next manager. And there you go, from a week of uncertainty, a week of 1 minute Nuno Espírito Santo being, you know, odds-on favourite and Everton really looking at him, to the next minute him joining Crystal Palace, and then those talks broke down, and then obviously we've had Christophe Galtier in the mix, David Moyes, Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, and now it seemed late last night like it is Nuno Espírito Santo who the Everton board have chosen. His team are apparently expecting a contract offer, a formal written contract offer within the next sort of 48 hours or so, and Nuno is happy to join Everton and is excited for the challenge ahead. So it looks like it will be Nuno Espírito Santo who becomes Everton's new manager. Again, nothing's confirmed yet, nothing has come out by the football club, but as it stands at the moment, Nuno is very clearly the front runner, and seems like he will become the new Everton manager. Now, there's a lot of split opinions on Nuno Espírito Santo, and there's a lot of fans that aren't happy with the appointment, and there's a lot of fans that are happy with the appointment. What I would say is Nuno certainly wasn't my first choice. He wasn't my first choice, and I think the way in which some of those sort of articles are written that we've just spoken about, I'm really disappointed with. For example, Nuno was an attractive option to the Everton board because of his availability. Now, Everton shouldn't really be looking at managers, and you know, a reason for a manager coming into the football club shouldn't be their availability. I'm not, and I know it's written in a way that might seem like the number one sort of attraction was his availability, when really it might just be that he was the number one target anyway, and the fact that he was available was a bonus. But I really don't like the way that's written whatsoever. I don't like the way Everton have looked at it and gone, well, it seems like they've looked at it and gone, oh yeah, Nuno Espírito Santo is available, you know, he's not going to take any sort of, there's not going to be any compensation to get him out of a role, so we'll just go for him. Like I said, you know, Carlo Ancelotti wasn't available for Real Madrid to come and bring him, but they did do that nevertheless because they wanted Carlo Ancelotti. He was their man, and they sort of, you know, puffed their chest up a little bit and went, we're Real Madrid, do with Everton, we're going to go and take your manager, and they did that. And I would be massively, massively disappointed if there was other names on that list that Everton deemed higher or more suitable to the job than Nuno Espírito Santo, but they didn't pursue them because of their availability, and they decided to pursue Nuno instead because of his availability. Also, obviously, Dominic King coming out, like I said, late last night and saying that Farhad Moshiri has decided and Nuno is now Moshiri's number one option. This really did leave a sour sort of feeling in me, you know, in my chest, really, because it made me again sort of think, what's the point in us having a director of football? What's the point in Marcel Brands being there and being named the director of football and being given that responsibility if really he isn't going to be given the responsibility, and he isn't going to be allowed to choose the next manager, and he isn't going to be allowed to make that decision if it's just going to be Farhad Moshiri's decision? And I know this argument's been going about for the last week or so now on Twitter about, oh, it's Farhad Moshiri's money, it's Farhad Moshiri's club, and I get that and I understand that, but you don't employ somebody to make your footballing decisions if you're then going to override every decision that they make or try to make because it doesn't fit with what you want. I said it on one of our live streams earlier on in the week. It's like me being a multi-billionaire and employing an accountant, and then them doing the accountant job and doing what they need to do, and me going in and going, no, actually, you forget that, I'll do all of that work. What's the point in me employing the accountant? What would be the point in Everton having Marcel Brands as our director of football if he's not going to be able to make those tough footballing decisions? Now, other journalists did come out last night and say that Moshiri and Brands both sat down and decided on Nuno Espírito Santo as the number one target and as the the best candidate for the job. And if that's the case, then obviously Marcel Brands has had a say in this, and Marcel Brands has been a key figure in regard to the decision. But the way in which some of those statements are written, certainly the one from Dominic King, it says that Nuno is very much Farhad Moshiri's number one, and that's why Everton have decided to go for him. And I'm not too happy about that, but I am aware that there's a lot of other sources that are coming out and saying, well, no, actually Marcel Brands had sat down and he's decided on Nuno as well. So what I would say, and I said this on Twitter last night as well, is I'd take every single thing we're reading at the moment regarding Nuno and his demands and the contract offered and who's decided on him and who hasn't decided on him. I'd take it all with a absolutely massive pinch of salt. We've just literally had breaking now that David Moyes has signed his new 3-year contract with West Ham, so that takes him completely out of the scenario anyway, even though it did anyway. We heard, like I said, late last night that Nuno was number one because of David Moyes' unavailability because of his new contract at West Ham. But anyway, that is just being confirmed today. So yeah, again, like I said, I'd take everything that we're reading at the moment in regards to Nuno Espírito Santo and the contract and the stuff about Farhad Moshiri choosing and the stuff about Jorge Mendes. I'd take it all with a massive pinch of salt, because ultimately, look, again, the latest was coming from the Mirror, which said that Nuno's demands in talks with Everton included him bringing 6 of his own staff with him to the football club. That doesn't surprise me, because early on in the week, when it was rumoured that talks had broken down with Nuno, a lot of those rumours were surrounding backroom staff and issues with Nuno wanting to bring in a certain amount of backroom staff. He then obviously went into talks with Crystal Palace. They broke down, and a lot of the rumours as to why they broke down were through issues with backroom staff as well. So that doesn't massively surprise me, but the section of that rumour that states and for super agent Jorge Mendes to be involved with transfer deals is a little bit surprising, purely because ultimately, look, again, I said it before and I've said it a number of times over the last week or so, is we have a director of football at Everton Football Club. We have Marcel Brands, and I know some people keep saying, what's Marcel Brands do to deserve all this responsibility? Why do you keep badgering on about Marcel Brands, this, that and the other? And that's fine. Listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion on Marcel Brands, and I get it. If you don't like him, fine. If you don't think he's doing a good enough job, that's absolutely fine. But the reality of the situation is Marcel Brands is being given a new 3-year contract at Everton. He's been here for 3 years. Everton had the perfect opportunity to say this summer, thanks for your time, but it hasn't worked out, so we're going to move you on. But they didn't. They said, thanks for your time. We're really happy with what you're doing in your role, so we're going to give you a new contract. Now, what's the point in doing that if you're effectively going to say to them, right, we're going to give you a new contract and you're going to remain with the title of director of football, but we're not going to really let you direct any football or make any footballing decisions. And that's why I'd take this with a pinch of salt. Like I said, it's written as if it seems like Jorge Mendes is going to come in and sort of do what he done at Wolves, which is basically make every single signing and build that Wolves team. Now, that would completely go against what Marcel Brands is here to do as well. What I would hope is that if Jorge Mendes is involved, he'll be working directly with Marcel Brands. But ultimately, it still leaves Marcel Brands in a situation where he's thinking, am I really the director of football here, or am I just another member on the board? Am I just a footballing head on the board? If that's the case, scrap the title director of football and just name Marcel Brands as a board member and have him as the footballing chief or something, or chief executive of football at the football club or whatever it may be. Because director of football and that title and that sort of, that makes it seem like there's a strategy, there's a plan for Marcel Brands to be really sailing this Everton ship and really being in charge of the footballing decisions, from transfers to manager choices to everything that goes on at this football club that involves the sport of football. But the reality of it is, as fans, I think we're feeling at the moment that Marcel Brands doesn't have any of that responsibility, and he's purely there just to be maybe sort of an advisor to Farhad Moshiri. And if Jorge Mendes is going to come in and start throwing his weight about like he did at Wolves, then is Marcel Brands just going to be an advisor for Jorge Mendes in regards to transfers as well? If so, then he's not the director of football, is he? Because if he was the director of football, no matter who was coming in as manager or who was coming in as super agent, he'd say, no, I'm the director of football. I'll work with you and I'll take your suggestions on board, but ultimately the final say comes through me. If I don't want said Portuguese player from said league, then he's not coming in. If I do want him, then that's great, but if I don't want him, he's not coming in. So like I said, I would take everything at the moment we're reading with a little bit of a pinch of salt, certainly regarding the sort of, nuts and crannies of the Nuno deal and the stuff with Jorge Mendes and the stuff about Farhad Moshiri making that choice, because I'd like to hope that Marcel Brands has made that decision. I'd like to hope that Marcel Brands has maybe sat down with Moshiri or whoever else and said, yeah, I agree, Nuno is the number one target. Nuno is the one who I think could come in and do a good enough job. But at the moment, some of the things we're reading at the moment really do seem like Marcel Brands' opinion is just being pushed completely aside, and it's just full on Farhad Moshiri's decision, and that's it, because he's got the money, he's paying the manager, so it's his decision, and that's not how it should be whatsoever. And if that's the case, then Everton's board needs a massive, massive look at itself and a massive shake-up, because you may as well have just got rid of Marcel Brands in the summer if you were going to do that. But again, like I said, for all we know, we're only getting bits and bobs of information from the media, and we're sort of putting together the story through these various different bits and bobs of information. For all we know, Marcel Brands might have sat down and went to Moshiri and said, look, I think Nuno's the best candidate out of all of these. Premier League experience with finishing in European places with Wolves, got Wolves promoted, and got them challenging for Europe straight away in the Premier League, which isn't an easy thing to do. He is the best candidate for the job. But we're all sitting here going, oh my God, it's fully, Farhad Moshiri's decision, because that's what we're reading in the media at the moment. Hopefully Marcel Brands has had a massive say on this. Hopefully Marcel Brands has been a decision maker on the Nuno stuff, because if he's not, then it would be massively disappointing, let's be honest, and it would make a mockery of his position at the football club. But in regards to Nuno Espírito Santo, let's talk about Nuno Espírito Santo for a second, because I do think he's a name that, like I said, has massively split opinion throughout the Everton fan base. And I think, to be fair, with exception of maybe Christophe Galtier and possibly Ralph Rangnick, out of the short list of names that we were said to be given that Everton were looking at, there's not one name on that list other than those two I've just mentioned that wasn't going to split opinion. I know a couple of people said, what about Favre? Well, Favre wasn't on the list. Favre wasn't mentioned once, maybe at the start of when Carlo Ancelotti first left, but in the last week or so, he hasn't been mentioned at all to be rumoured with the Everton job. So other than Christophe Galtier and Ralph Rangnick, who have been mentioned, there wasn't one name on that list that didn't split opinion, from Eddie Howe to David Moyes to Roberto Martinez to Nuno Espírito Santo to Graham Potter to Duncan Ferguson. Every single one of those managers had their supporters and had their, sort of fans that were a bit like, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't think it'll work whatsoever. And that's fine. And that's fair enough, and that's what we're all here for, and that's what opinions are for, and everyone's entitled to them. And it's great that everyone has opinions, because that's why we support this football club. We mightn't always agree with each other, and that's what we want. I do think it seemed a little bit certainly at times, like, the board didn't agree with each other, or the board couldn't settle on one specific name, and they all had various different opinions, which isn't necessarily the greatest thing, because that means that, you know, again, there's there's a little bit of there's a little bit of, like I said, that frustration throughout the boardroom as well. But look, if it is to be Nuno, and like I said, it's not confirmed yet, this isn't a confirmation video by any stretch of the imagination. It's simply just a manager update, like we've done, you know, every day for the last however many days or so. It's simply just another manager update, and the update for today is that, according to a lot of rumours and a lot of journalists, it seems like Nuno Espírito Santo is going to be the new Everton manager, or certainly that's how it's looking at the very moment. But nothing has been confirmed yet. But if it is confirmed to be Nuno Espírito Santo, then we simply just have to get behind him. We have to get behind him. I know he's not everybody's first choice, and I know, you know, you only have to go onto Twitter and you'll see one tweet which says, hang on, Nuno Espírito Santo done brilliantly at Wolves. He got them into the Premier League. He got them challenging for Europe 2 seasons on the bounce. He got them in a Europa League quarter-final at one stage. And he failed last season. He didn't have a great season last season, but he did lose his 2 best strikers. One was sold on him, and the other was, had a massive injury that you could never have preempted. And then the next tweet above from it is, Nuno's awful, this, that and the other. Wolves, I think they've got the lowest pressing stats in the Premier League. I think they went, 800 minutes or something like that without scoring a first half goal in the Premier League last season. They didn't score many goals at home in the first half. And all of these mad stats that say that Nuno wouldn't be able to do a good enough job. I think they finished something like 10 points below us last season, even though we had a dreadful season as well. So it very much is an appointment that splits opinion, and like I said, that was always going to be the case. Unless we were sitting here talking about Christophe Galtier, unless we were sitting here talking about Ralf Rangnick, every single manager we could potentially be sitting here talking about was going to split opinion. What I do think we have to do, if Nuno, or maybe when Nuno's announced, whatever the situation is get behind him. You've got to give him a chance. Now, some people might be right and might be sitting here saying he won't be here in 18 months' time and we'll be in the same situation in 18 months' time. And if he's not here in 18 months' time, then I think we seriously need to sit down and have a conversation about the board at Everton Football Club, from Farhad Moshiri to Bill Kenwright to Marcel Brands to Denise Barrett-Baxendale, every single name on that Everton board. If Nuno doesn't turn out to be the right man, we have to sit down and have a conversation about those people, because they're clearly not doing the job properly. But for the moment, if it is to be Nuno Espírito Santo, we've just got to get behind them. We're all Evertonians, aren't we? We're all Everton. As the saying goes, Everton, aren't we? We are. And we'll all be there at Goodison Park. From the moment we can visit Goodison Park next season, the majority of us haven't visited Goodison for 18 months, something like that now, because of the pandemic. The moment we can all get back there, we'll get back there, whether it's Nuno managing Everton, whether it had been Carlo Ancelotti managing Everton, or whether it be Mr. Bean, or, Mr. Miyagi managing Everton, whoever it may be. We'd all be there watching them, because we support Everton Football Club. We're Evertonians. We'll go whether we agree with the manager appointments or whether we don't. We all went through the Sam Allardyce era when the majority of Evertonians weren't happy with the way in which we were playing or the manager on the sidelines, but we all still went to Goodison religiously week in, week out to watch Everton, because that's what we do. With Evertonians, we'll always keep going, we'll always keep watching. And I think at the very least, if it is to be Nuno Espírito Santo, he deserves a chance, he deserves an opportunity, he deserves a time frame to be able to prove himself. And if he proves himself to not be the right manager, then we move him on. And that's when we seriously start looking at the board and say, look, you had a big decision to make when Carlo Ancelotti left the football club, and you made the wrong decision. And a lot of fans at the time could see that was the wrong decision, but it mightn't be the wrong decision. Nuno Espírito Santo might be the greatest thing to ever happen to Everton Football Club. We don't know. He might come in and completely galvanise the squad. He might come in and completely galvanise the team and turn Everton into a good playing football European team. Jorge Mendes might come in and have a brilliant relationship with Marcel Brands, and we might sign 4, 5, 6 absolute worldies this summer. Young, hungry, athletic, quick, physical players that can come into the Premier League and can make a real impression. Let's be honest, a couple of the best players in the Premier League at the moment are Portuguese. Bruno Fernandes is up there with one of the best players in the Premier League. He's Portuguese, and I'm not saying that Jorge Mendes coming in means we're just going to sign every Portuguese player. I'm not saying that, but when you look at Wolves' squad, it is largely dominated by Portuguese talent, and there's a lot of that Portuguese talent. Pedro Neto at Wolves is a brilliant player. Ruben Neves at Wolves is a brilliant player. And again, I'm not saying that just because we've brought Nuno in, or we might be bringing Nuno in, means that we're going to go out and sign every Wolves player. It doesn't mean that whatsoever. But we have to give him a chance. We have to give him an opportunity, because what else are we going to do? Are we going to sit here and not go the game or not watch Everton? We're not, are we? We're still going to go the game. If somebody said to me now, right, Cam, Nuno's the manager, is he your first choice? I'd go, no, not necessarily. I don't necessarily agree with the whole, is availability made him an attractive option? Because I think it's a bit nonsense, to be honest with you. You know, if he's only an attractive option because of his availability, then whoever's made that decision at the board needs to go. Don't care if you're Machedi, you Kenwright, you're Denise Barrett-Backendale. If you're making a managerial appointments decision because of their availability rather than actually how good they will be at their job, then just please walk away, because you've got no clue about football whatsoever. But that might have just been one element of him being an attractive option. It might be, Nuno might have been number one anyway, regardless of his availability. We don't know that yet. And like I said, we have to give him a chance. We have to give him an opportunity, and we have to give him that support and that backing to go and, you know, get the most out of this Everton team. We did with Marco Silva. Not a lot of people were happy with the Marco Silva appointments, because let's be honest, he didn't blow any skates up at Watford. At least Nuno has taken Wolves into Europe 2 of the last 3 seasons after having them promoted from the Championship. At least for, you know, a part of that, those seasons they were playing nice attacking football. Remember, they beat us during the lockdown period. They absolutely, not the lockdown period, when we returned from lockdown at the back end of the season before last, they absolutely stampeded all over us. They battered us. And I remember thinking, these are levels above us. No, obviously last season they weren't, because of some injuries and some transfer decisions that they made, but it showed that Nuno could get Everton, they could get Wolves to that level, and hopefully he can get Everton to that level. Now look, I get there's some negatives, the 5 at the back sort of stuff, the pressing stats are a little bit worrying, their goal scoring stats are a bit worrying as well, but, you know, let's not forget, like I said, they lost one of the best goal scorers in the Premier League. Raul Jimenez is one of the best goal scorers in the Premier League. If he hadn't have had that injury, he'd be playing for Manchester City or Manchester United now. And they lost him, and they replaced him with an 18-year-old lad who cost £28 million, who was absolutely utter dross. And again, that might have been, Nuno's decision. That might have been Jorge Mendes' decision. I don't know whose decision that was. But again, like I said, we just have to get behind them. And I fully expect it to be a load of different opinions in the comments of this video of, yeah, you know, get behind them, we've got to get behind them. And some people saying, no, you're talking out your ass, it's an awful appointment, the board of this, the board of that. There's, you know, it's not an exciting appointment, it's not. But like I said, none of the names we were mentioned other than 2, and those 2 that would have been exciting were probably the least likely to come in. Every other name had its positives and had its negatives, and every other name was a bit bland and a bit, that's a bit uninspired and underwhelming, whatever you want to say. And I get it, I completely get it, because we're going from Carlo Ancelotti to Nuno Espírito Santo. I understand that, but we can't compare that. We need to move away from this, oh my god, we're going from Carlo to Nuno, because it'd have been the same with anyone. Oh my god, we're going from Carlo to Graham Potter. Oh my god, we're going from Carlo to Eddie Howe. We're going from Carlo to Galtier. It would have been the same with every manager, because there's not many managers on this planet that are at the level that Carlo Ancelotti is at. There's not many managers on this planet that have got the CVs that Carlo Ancelotti has. But forget about your CVs for the moment. Rafa Benitez has got a brilliant CV, won Champions Leagues, won European Cups, won leagues, titles. He hasn't had a competitive, decent job in 6 or 7 years. He won a cup at Napoli, which was his last competitive role. He come into Newcastle. They just needed to stay up. That's not where Everton are or where Everton want to be. And he went over to China, which is not even comparable to the Premier League. So what gave Rafa Benitez the right to become Everton manager? Because of his CV of what he'd won 15 years ago or 10 years ago. Let's be honest, it's not, forget his ex-Liverpool connection for the moment. If Rafa Benitez had just come off the back of winning 3 consecutive league titles in a top 5 league in Europe and, challenging in the European Cups, I'd say, okay, yes, he's got a connection with Liverpool, but he's also a serial winner, and he's winning at the moment. He hasn't won a major trophy for 8 years. He hasn't won a European Cup for 15 years, and people keep banging on about that. He's not at that stage in his career now where we can say, yeah, he's the right man, he's the best man for the job. Is he the best man for the job? Because he won a European Cup 15 years ago. Does that make you the best man for the job, does it? Really? Was Carlo Ancelotti the best man for the job? Maybe some people would say he is. Some people would now say, no, he wasn't. But he'd won loads. He'd won 3 European Cups. He'd won 4 of the top 5 leagues in Europe. So we have to give Nuno a chance, whether we like the appointment or not, whether we agree with it or not. Ultimately, what are we going to do? Sit here and boo when he hasn't even managed the game with Everton yet? Are we going to sit here and ultimately, not go the game, not watch the game? And there will be a lot of, like I said, there will be a lot of a lot of Evertonians that are frustrated. There'll be a lot of Evertonians that aren't very happy. There'll be a lot of Evertonians that are underwhelmed. Fabrizio Romano has come out and said, official and completed. West Ham confirmed David Moyes has signed a new 3-year contract. He is not joining Everton, where Nuno Espírito Santo is set to be appointed. So there you go. There you go. Like I said, Nuno Espírito Santo. Did I say Sanchez then? Nuno Espírito Santo, sorry, is got a relationship with Jorge Mendes. Jorge Mendes has got a relationship with Farhad Moshiri. This isn't, that's not a secret. It really isn't a secret. So let's just hope that, Nuno is being brought in because he's the right man for the job. He's the right man for Everton Football Club. He's the right man to take us forward, and not just because he is, a friend of, or his friend is a friend of Farhad Moshiri and there's a relationship there. But look, nothing's been completed yet. That is just the latest Everton news. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, when the news breaks officially, if it does break officially, we'll be live talking about it. And if it falls down to pieces and all breaks down, we'll be live talking about that as well. So keep up to date with the latest Everton news on the channel by hitting that subscribe button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, please do hit that like button as well if you've enjoyed this video. Let us know all your thoughts in the comments, because I know there'll be a load of different comments and loads of different opinions. So please do let us know your thoughts in the comments, because that's what it's all about. If you've enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Like I said, nothing confirmed yet, but the latest is that Nuno Espírito Santo, according to multiple journalists, is set to be appointed as the new Everton manager. So like I said, when it's all official and confirmed, we'll be back on the channel and we'll be talking a little bit about it then. But big thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.